Are you dealing with low flow? Do you not have the pressure you used to? And do you wish you had a bigger flame? It's true that as your equipment ages, there are times where you're not going to have the performance that you used to. So if you stick around for a couple minutes, hopefully I can give you some techniques that'll help you get more flow, a better flame, and that pressure that you need to be able to run everything in your RV. Now, typically when you have propane issues, you're just going to replace these hoses because these can be part of the problem. They'll leak, or normally it's going to be your propane regulator, which I ended up replacing my regulator and I still had a problem. So here's how I ended up diagnosing it. Now, when it comes to testing stuff out, unfortunately, you're not going to get very far unless you actually have a tool, which having a test gauge like this can really save you a lot of time and frustration. They're not very expensive, but you don't want to buy the cheapest one that's only $20. You can normally spend about $40, but at least you'll have this and you'll be able to check the propane levels, even at your quick connects. That way you always know you have the appropriate pressure. And this way you cannot maybe blame it on the pressure from your RV, but maybe it's just the equipment itself. So you're kind of doing a process of elimination. But I'll leave some information on some of these down below, but here's how you can get started. Now, when it comes to measuring the propane on the low pressure side, that's what this does. It's going to measure the inches of water column, or the WC. So we need to actually calibrate this gauge because sometimes they're not set exactly right. They can be 2, 3, 4 PSI off when you get these from the factory. So what you need is something like a known regulator that is good. That way you can hook it up to your tank, then hook this up, and then you can set the water column to the known regulator that is good. Now, this is the regulator we're going to use to set the pressure of the gauge. This is something I got off a generator. I know it works. I've measured it before. And so you can use one that's from a barbecue. They're normally all going to be at about 11 water column. So that's what we're going to put this on. Then we're going to check it, which sometimes you'll need some adapters. You may have to kind of come up with your own depending on the hose that you're going to use. Now, inside my test kit, I ended up adding a bunch of adapters. I have a 3/8 flare, I have some quick connects. That way, if I want to plug in a propane fire pit or my barbecue, I can check the pressure there as well. We'll get the pressure off of this, we'll set it, and then we'll get going. Okay, now that I have this connected, all we have to do is turn on the propane tank, and then this gauge is going to pop up here in just a second, and it'll probably go back down as well. So now that I have this open, we're going to take a look here at the gauge, and we want to make sure that this goes to 11. So as we take a look right here, so right now this says 11 as far as water column goes. That's because that's what this one is set at. And in order to adjust this, you're just going to use that little screw back there. That's what's going to adjust it either positive or negative. And so I use this one here as kind of a testing regulator. This one pretty much stays at home, as I know this one is pretty much always consistent. So now, depending on the RV that you have, your regulators are going to be a little bit different. Most of them are kind of the same. This is just one style. The one on the other side is going to be the automatic that flips between both sides. So I can run both tanks. It'll automatically switch over. But when you do get these, they're supposed to be preset, but they might be a little bit low as far as when you test them. Now, when I first got this one, it was at about 10, which was a little bit low. But if you take off this cap, you can actually take this and turn it up a little bit, and then you can get the correct pressure, which again, it's probably going to need to be at least 12, maybe 13 at the highest, because once you put a load on everything, that pressure will drop a little bit, and you're trying to hold or maintain 11 water column. Okay, so now I have this one hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Now as we take a look at the pressure on this one, but this one here is set at about 12.5 on our water column. So this is actually great because then when we put a bunch of loads on this, hopefully we don't lose a lot of pressure and we can maintain at least 11. Now, whenever you are working on propane, you definitely want to be checking for leaks. You can use the spray bottle method. I've been using this pen for a long time. You've probably seen it in my videos, but you simply turn this on. It takes about 10 seconds to get calibrated, and then it's ready to go. But it's only about $20, and this will just hunt it down because it's just a little sniffer pen. I've already had this one for almost a couple years. It's been used several times. I also have one at home because it picks up more than just propane. It picks up a lot of different types of gases, carbon monoxide as well. But I'll leave some information down below if you guys want to check this out. But this one lives in my RV and it's already come in handy several times. Okay, so this is the farthest point of my RV is this back connector. I have another one just forward of this, and we're at 11. And now what we have to do is load test this. So what we're going to do is put this burner on high and this one. Fire this up. There we go, both of them, bang. Okay, both of these guys look great, right? So, as we come over and take a look at our gauge, we should be holding 11, correct? Now, if you notice the gauge is pulsing. Now, honestly, everywhere I've read in the literature, this isn't correct. It shouldn't pulse. And so with it pulsing, that means something is bad somewhere. So now we have to figure out where is it bad, which normally it's only one place. Okay, so now that we come back over here to our propane regulator, let's see if you guys can listen. Can you hear that? Now, my last regulator did not do this. It just simply had a very low flow, and it wouldn't really provide much propane to the fire pit, to really anything else. It would keep the refrigerator running. Even if I switch to the other side, it usually calms down. We still have our load going, which is this, and the refrigerator is on propane at the moment. But we still have the pulsing gauge. Again, the only thing that can typically cause this is going to be your regulator. Now, being that this is brand new, that usually doesn't mean anything, because even though it's new, it's bad. And honestly, I wouldn't have known this if I didn't have that gauge and I was able to see it pulsing up and down, or else I would have been chasing other problems as to why is the fire pit low when I'm barbecuing, because it never used to be. And so after I started hearing the pulsing, I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. So then of course I did some reading like anybody else would, and it said if you have pulsing going on, then obviously the regulator is bad and it should be replaced. So unfortunately, I'm out here and I don't have the other one with me, but I thought it would be a great time to make a video to help you guys out. I'll leave some information on the stuff that you saw here today. And again, having a gauge is really handy, because if I didn't have the gauge, I would have been kind of chasing a ghost thinking, oh, well, I just bought a brand new regulator. It should be good. But anything out of the new can be dead on arrival. So I hope the video helped you out, and I hope to see you in another one.